Today, I want to talk about something that almost everyone who's lived through narcissistic abuse struggles with, whether you're still in it or trying to make sense of it after leaving. It's that moment when you try to explain what's happening or what happened to you. And no matter how carefully you choose your words, it just doesn't land. The person that you're talking to just doesn't get it. They might look confused, or worse, they might look like they're evaluating you. And suddenly you find yourself spinning, not because you're unsure of what you lived through, but because now you're trying to prove it to someone who didn't see it. So, one of the hardest parts of narcissistic abuse is that to the outsider, it doesn't look like abuse because there's no evidence of it, no broken bones. Sometimes there's not even a raised voice. And because they don't see any obvious signs of abuse, the outside world, and sometimes even you, wonder if it really is real. It looks like maybe being gently corrected, or it sounds like your feelings are being dismissed in a voice that's very calm and reasonable. Or it feels like you're being made small, but it's never in a way that you can quite say it out loud and have someone else say that's abuse. It's really death by a thousand cuts, and each cut is so subtle, so deniable, that when you try to explain it, it's just sounds petty. It sounds like you're nitpicking. The person you're talking to may tilt their head and say, "Gee, that sounds like a misunderstanding." And at the moment, that dismissal, it hurts almost as much as the abuse itself. And what about the charm that masks the narcissist's cruelty? That's just another reason it's so hard to explain because the narcissist knows how to manage their image. They've already done the work of planting a different version of themselves in everybody else's mind. They can be helpful, generous, kind, even smart and funny. To the outsiders, they're the person who remembers birthdays or they're always volunteering. So when you speak up, especially if you're the only one saying it, you look like the difficult one. You might look even bitter or ungrateful, probably emotional, because the person you're describing doesn't match the version they think they know. And you know what? The narcissist is counting on that. They weaponize their charm and their credibility, knowing it will make your truth harder to believe. And so it becomes exhausting to try to explain it to anybody. And there's this moment you might think, well, maybe if I just explain it better, the other people will understand. So you open up more to somebody that you might be confiding in. You share an example, something small but meaningful, something you thought might help them see it. But instead of a connection, you're met with a pause, maybe a blink, a polite smile, and maybe they just change the subject. And just like that, you feel exposed. Of course, you feel misunderstood, like maybe you've said too much or not at all at once. And just like that, your pain was dismissed because you tried to explain something that can't be understood in a single story. We all know narcissistic abuse isn't just one story, it's a complete system. It's a long, confusing pattern that rewires your reality over time. You didn't get here after one incident. So why would somebody else understand it after just hearing it one time? You probably feel like you're really up against it because trying to explain narcissistic abuse to someone who's never lived it, it's like trying to explain color to someone who's never seen it. It's not their fault. that they don't get it, but it's also not your job to make them get it. And here's what I want you to know. You're not crazy. You're not oversensitive. You're not making a big deal out of nothing. I know sometimes you think that. You were on the receiving end of something subtle, intentional, and corrosive. And just because it doesn't come with a headline or a police report doesn't mean it didn't happen to you. So if you've been struggling to explain your story to someone and you're feeling dismissed, I want you to know this. You don't owe your healing to someone else's understanding. You don't need to prove anything to someone who hasn't walked your path. And if they can't see it, it doesn't mean it isn't real. It means you were in something they never experienced. And that's okay, because your job now isn't to make them understand. Your job is to keep healing, to keep growing, to keep reclaiming your peace, even if you do it quietly, even if no one hears, and even if no one believes you. If When you're ready, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And if any part of this episode speaks to you, I invite you to say, I am Annie. It would be in solidarity with any man, any woman who has ever tried to normalize the unbearable. And you would be standing in defiance of the silence that keeps so many of us stuck. And for those who are new to this podcast, I'm Kyle Hackley, attorney and author of Undercurrent. It's a story about a young woman named Annie who finds the courage to break free from her narcissistic marriage. And what she finds on the other side of narcissistic abuse is extraordinary. Annie, as I've said before, is any man or woman who has ever experienced narcissistic abuse. And of course, as always, I want you to know that you are stronger than you ever believed. And I want you to be tenacious and never give up on what's important to you. And to everyone here, thank you. Thank you for listening, for showing up, and for building this beautiful community. We're strong and we're truth telling. We'll keep growing, won't we? And we're going to keep healing together. And yes, we're going to be okay. I appreciate you. And until next time, take good care of yourself. Bye.